Hello and welcome everyone to this video on OData configuring SAP OData Service Cache by ZaranTech. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our ZaranTech YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss any update from us.
So, hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the concept of configuring OData services cache. So, what is cache? Cache is nothing but some data which gets stored while you visit on a particular website. So, caching in OData services helps improve performance by storing frequently accessed data temporarily. That means, suppose you are calling a get entity or get entity set method in OData services frequently. So what this cache is doing here, it will store that frequently accessed data for temporarily, so that whenever you will visit it again, you will not be required to load that particular method again and again. You will simply able to access that particular data. So what it is doing here, it reducing the load of the backend system, and overall it will increase the efficiency of your OData. So here is how you can configuring caching for OData services in SAP. The first one is understanding the basics. So before you start configuring the cache, it is essential to understand some basic concepts. And what are these basic concepts? The first one is cache validability. To define how long the data should be cached, you are required to define how long the data should be stored temporarily so that the user can access the data frequently. Then we are required to define the E tag. It is a mechanism used to determine the version of a resource. And it helps in ensuring that the cached data is still valid. So what it is doing here? It is used to determine the version of a resource. And here, what is the use of this E tag? It helps in ensuring that the cached data is still valid. All right. Then cache control headers. So HTTP headers used to define caching policies. So what HTTP headers are doing here is that they are used to define the caching policies. All right. Then the second step is activate cache in the service. So we are required to activate the cache in the service here. So these are some of the step-by-step guide that you will be following it. The first one is you are required to access SAP Gateway Service Builder. That is, you will go to SEGW transaction code and you will use your SAP GUI and you will enter the transaction code SEGW there. Then you are required to open the OData project and locate and open the OData project for which you want to configure caching. In simple way, you will locate your OData project for which you want to configure your OData caching. Then the third step is define cache setting in metadata. So in the project, you are required to navigate to service implementation node. All right, you'll go to the service implementation node and open the specific service for which you want to enable caching. Then you are required to define the cache validity period using annotation. And you can use this SAP cache -control annotation in the metadata XML. See, this will be the XML you are required to use. We'll use this annotation where you will provide the target is equal to your entity set. And here you will give the annotation as SAP cache-control, where string is equal to max as equal to 3600 and the end of annotation. So here max hyphen is equal to 3600 indicates that the cache is valid for 3600 seconds, that is 1 hour. Then the fourth one is we are required to implement E tag handling option but recommended, optional but recommended. So we are required to implement this E tag handling here. It is an optional but recommended. Then what we will do here, we will implement this E tag handling in your service to ensure that the data served from the cache is still valid. Go to your get entity method, see what is happening here. You will create a variable for of type string. Then you will store some value here. And this is a particular request header interface which you will call around here. So if none match, you'll get the response code is equal to 304. Then at last you will give the name of your e tag and the value. And then the fifth one in this step is maintain cache setting in the service registry. Go to the transaction code. This is the transaction code for maintenance service. You are required to go on there. Then select the OData service for which you want to configure caching. Then you are required to choose the cache control tab and set the cache control parameters. Then the third one which we have is test the cache configuration. So what you will do here, using SAP Gateway Client, you'll go to this transaction code, which is the transaction code for your gateway client, and you will are required to execute the service. So test the OData service by sending request and response headers for cache control directives. Then verify that the cache is working by observing the performance improvements and reduce backend hits. Then the fourth one is monitor and maintain cache. So monitoring, what is the meaning of monitoring here? Is regularly monitor the cache performance using SAP Gateway monitoring tools. Then ensure that the cache is invalidated correctly when the underlying data changes. Then we have maintenance in it. So we are required to adjust cache validity period based on users patterns and data update frequency. Then we are required to implement the proper cache validation mechanism to ensure data consistency. So data consistency is very important around here. At last, we have some best practices. So use caching judicially. Not all OData service benefit from caching. So use caching for read intensive service with relatively static data. Then monitor cache performance. So regularly monitor the cache performance and adjust setting as needed. And at last, we have implement e-tags. So implement e-tags to ensure data consistency and proper cache invalidation. So this is my how we can configure OData service cache. And what is the meaning of configuring here? So caching in OData services helps to improve performance by storing frequently accessed data temporarily. So the data will be accessed temporarily here and you can use it again and again according to your need. So this is all about my configuring OData services cache. Thank you very much.